Hello, and welcome to an actual play podcast of Daemonologie, an upcoming tabletop role-playing game. The game is a work in progress, so rules may change, but the stories will remain. I am joined today by...
I'm Siobhan. I'm playing Tanazart. My pronouns are he, him, and Tanazart is an investigator.
Hi, I'm Fionn. My pronouns are he, him, and I'll be playing Sir Rumpert, a druid.
Hi, I'm Mo. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm playing a reformed rogue named Eli Sawthorn.
Hello, I'm Felix. I play Dr. Jude Sheltimong, who is also a reformed rogue, and my pronouns are they and them.
And I am Alex. I'm going to be mediating the session, and my pronouns are he, they. I love that we've added professions this time round as well, just to give me more things to edit back to previous sessions. I won't actually do that.
I was actually telling Siobhan that we probably should have done that because we were talking amongst us about what professions each of the characters was, sort of halfway through the second part.
Yeah, we'd already had some play.
This wasn't me prompting you to do more work. I was just saying.
No, it's like fuck you, Wilcox.
No, I agree with that. Fuck me, Wilcox.
The new game for kids.
Ages 3 to 99.
I don't think we ever needed to pretend that. So would we like to briefly recap what happened last time? And also, I will emphasize that we are missing Josh as Piotyr Benedictus Kershimov today. He will likely be off still talking to the bishop and talking deeply about alchemical matters for the rest of his days.
And presumably also about Satan.
Maybe one day he'll come back and tell us all the alchemical matters he's learnt.
Which will likely have no use.
Maybe he ate one of the burned fruit and thus fell ill. For an indefinite period.
What did everyone's characters get up to last time? What were some big things they did?
Well, Rumpert, I think, showed everyone off his magnificent tuchus, his rear end, his backside, if you will, and generally just sort of vibes. He did a quite nice bit of hunting and some trailing with Eli Sawthorn. We managed to track down certainly someone for a reason, and he made a little rat friend, which I think is the most important thing that Rumpert will have gained from that. That he made a little rat friend.
I love that you've taken part of the credit for the hunting when it was in fact Eli who did that.
Without the rat, we might not have got as far.
And that
the rat was the second
caramel.
part. That was
the smell of
that
burnt
was the
caramel.
listening in.
I think that is very important, maybe. And Rumpert is certainly quite enamoured, friendship, platonically, with Eli. He wants to get all up in his friendship.
Have you, just out of pure curiosity, do you have any clues or hunches or thinkings on that caramel?
I don't know.
I can't remember from where, and I don't know whether or not this is bollocks, but for some reason, I think that there is some kind of explosive gives off a smell of burnt caramel. So I think someone's trying to blow something up. If not, then it's, again, definitely worth noting. If I could take up clues, I'd take them up.
So what else did other characters get up to? How about Tanazart?
Tanazart scared Marjorie, I think, the second least, combined with Jude.
I think it was Piotyr who did the most terrifying.
Yeah,
very scary man.
Which is a sentiment that is true for most interactions he has.
Yeah. It's that scythe.
It's the
scythe.
The scythe. The scythe really
Just
does
the
make
scythe,
him...
not the spine?
I think the spine isn't always on show, though. He's always holding the scythe.
His general demeanour, really. I then went to the constabulary, along with Jude. Jude was taken to the morgue. I went inside after definitely scaring the man on the door at the constabulary.
Oh yeah, poor Stephen.
Poor Stephen. Poor Stephen. Rest his soul. He's not dead. He's not dead.
But his soul does need rest.
A little rest for Stephen.
Speaking of the morgue, how did that interaction go for Jude?
Yeah, how did
The
it
interaction
go for
with
Jude?
the doctor, with the absent dead body, or the monster in the
The
furnace?
chimney?
The chimney incident.
Do you mean the thing that went well or the embarrassing thing?
I would say that all of them were mediocre. Unexciting, uneventful, just run-of-the-mill happenings.
Jude's always getting dragged into chimneys by devilish.
Truly, I was actually complaining after the session that every single time Jude happens to just be the one that runs into a labyrinth, and then when everyone says to turn back, does not. Or has to plant...
Some people pay for that kind of thing.
Truly. I suppose Jude gets paid as well.
In a manner of speaking.
Or plants bombs in front of very powerful witches, and then
That
runs
was
away.
a lot of fun.
This time around, not so successful. He was not dexterous enough to hack away at his encounter and was forced to be pulled out. And has requested of the Mortons, I presume unrelated, although in my fanfiction universe they are brother and sister, to watch and guard both exits of the furnace in the eventuality that something does take place in their absence, and has joined the rest of the party in the bishop's apartments to discuss.
There was a very flashy interaction where you jumped up onto a roof.
That is run of the mill again, completely unexciting. Where we asked some questions about that would help us in our investigation.
Eli, then, we've already had Rumpert take credit for all of Eli's brilliant hunting activities.
Eli's humble; he doesn't mind.
Yeah, it seemed like the rest of Eli's responsibilities were looking after Piotyr.
A little bit of child minding, yeah.
So now that Pyotyr's gone, it's potential that Eli will either be given Rumpert or be able to free reign.
We will see.
Let's see
I don't
and
think Eli
find
minds
out.
Rumpert. I think Eli enjoys his slightly different approach to investigations.
You know what? That's
Piotyr
an
doesn't
incredibly
think Piotyr
kind
is-
way of describing his approach.
Piotyr doesn't think...
And by that I just mean as an approach, as opposed to just sort of like an
If you can
onslaught.
count it as an approach.
Piotyr definitely doesn't think that Piotyr is chaotic, but Rumpert definitely knows that Rumpert is chaotic.
Rumpert knows that he wants to do what he wants, baby.
So with that little recap, should we get a cracking on? 'Cause
Yeah.
it was around 7 p.m. You were still at the bishop's apartment, and you were about to head on off and say goodbye to Jenny Morton. But I realised that in our conversation, we had one stage left to perform, which is the negotiation to get one giant, great big boon from the constabulary. Because you've got them thinking positive of you. You've got them thinking you've got their attention, and you've got 2 bargaining chips with them. But you haven't yet gone for that negotiation. So is there anything that you want to try and get out of the constabulary, or do you want to try and save this for a bit later?
Might I suggest that if the negotiating is happening now, that Tanazart perhaps follow Jenny Morton back to the constabulary to perhaps also speak to the one person that was imprisoned there, jailed there, kept there?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So does somebody want to head off to the jail?
Rumpel will do it. But you may not want Rumpert to do it.
Do we want?
I will go with Rumpert to the jail.
Yay!
Sensible decision.
Friendship. Rumpert's very happy. New friends.
Have we been told where the other Scots people are
Yes.
around?
They're staying at your inn.
Oh, they're staying at the
splendid.
same inn as us.
Eli...
Actually, you know what? Rumpert will probably get on with a bunch of Scottish clansmen. I'm just saying that now. He will likely be more attuned to their goings-on than perhaps interrogating a prisoner. That might lead him to be slightly antagonistic.
Well
so-
then, Eli, you shall come with me, and we
Of
shall
course.
send
I mean,
Jude
Eli-
and Rumpert.
And his non-existent amount of intimidation, but
Fabulous. So you're going to split off in your two different directions. Jenny Morton is going to go with Tanazart and Eli back to the constabulary to talk with this mysterious one person in the jail cell. And the meanwhile, Rumpert and Jude will head off back to the Hatchet to meet some Scotsmen.
woohoo!
Indeed.
Good.
So let us start with the trip to the constabulary. So Morton leads you quite swiftly back. It's a very simple journey. It's not too much distance, not too difficult. Is there anything that you wanted to go towards this negotiation while you're there, or do you want to keep a hold of it and make your questioning to whoever's in that jail?
Any suggestions from the group?
Could the negotiating happen downstairs, and could Eli go and rummage through her things and find any notes that Jenny's keeping from us? Just
It's
saying.
downright underhanded to me.
I love that.
I
Big
love
Not
fan.
that.
exactly
Thank
honourable
Her.
practice.
That's
It is
Eli
what
can
I
do
would
that.
do in real life. Just some stealing.
So the negotiation is more of a stalling.
Does anyone
But
want
with
anything
potentially-
from the negotiation apart from to distract her?
I suppose we could use some help in any confrontation. I mean, in manpower.
Oh, I don't know. They sound absolutely useless just by
They do
by-
they do
by
sound
Wilcox's tone of voice. That
like
sounds
literally
terrible.
a bunch of old men.
I mean, they can be useless but they can also tank damage.
Yeah.
Just some dead police
Just
people.
throw them at
They
things.
could be
I don't
used
feel
as human
comfortable with
shields,
that.
It's fine.
Meat shields. Meat shields. This is no. There's no
highly
honour.
unethical.
There is no honour in this.
Let me
Rumpert has
check if
decided he
Tanazart
is
is okay
very
with.
much
Oh yeah,
behind.
Tanazart's absolutely okay with meat shields.
That checks.
I feel like all of Siobhan's characters have been absolutely okay with meat shields.
One of them has made.
Siobhan's ever made a
One of them has
character that
definitely
isn't
made one
okay
before.
with meat shields.
Yeah, you're right. Benedict because he's just sort of cruel. Saint-Jean because he's basically a coward, and Tanazart because she's seen enough men eaten by krakens to know it doesn't really matter. Is it not?
So you arrive at the constabulary. How do you bridge to Morton that you want to talk to the prisoner?
Constable, there is a man there, the only man in the prison. Why?
He's little more than a local thief. He's currently aiding in an ongoing investigation. Very little else. He's not of too much interest, but if you wish to investigate and question him, then you're more than welcome to.
I would be delighted. Now,
Very well.
before that, might we conference quickly?
We can head up to my office.
No. I won't take too much of her time. Here is fine. I will give Eli a look over her shoulder.
Oh, I can go talk to the prisoner if you two want to discuss things.
No, Eli. I think there is somewhere else you should be.
Really?
Skullduggery check.
The pair of yous.
Let me try.
So I can't quite tell right now if
Wait.
Eli is saying that they'll go talk to the prisoner when Eli will in fact go rummage in the office.
That's
I
what's
mean,
going
that's
to
what
happen.
I was supposed to say, yes.
So Tanazart's
Yeah.
just buggered that, hasn't he? No! Don't do that!
So I feel like this calamity
Of this initial interaction
no.
right away is a mess.
and I think that
Can I see if...
I want from Tanazart an etiquette
Okay.
test to try and convince Morton not to take this conversation to our office.
Right, I have 2 sway but no etiquette. Let's see how that goes for me.
Do you have any relevant knowledges?
Nope.
Glad we got there.
Oh my god!
Ooh!
Woo!
Fantastic.
Straight in with 2 successes on 2 dice. That's pretty good.
It barely ever happens.
So yeah, I think as you were saying, Mo, Tanazart and Jenny stood outside, and Tanazart suggests that the conversation is perfectly fine to be conducted there, and Jenny says that considering the summery air and the nice temperate climate, that it's a perfectly good suggestion. So does Eli then slide on in to talk
Goes
to the prisoner?
Prisoner, wink.
Yes,
Christ.
strong winks are conveyed between Tanazart and Eli that communicate the illicit activity. And Eli, you slide in. You see Sally Dogmorton, who you've not been acquainted with before, but Tanazart has met very briefly, and she is sitting in a not in a desk. That would be ridiculous. At a desk. She's very small.
Aww.
She fits in the pencil pot. She's sitting at a desk in front of the hallway that leads to the cells.
Okay.
On the other side of the room, there's a staircase that leads up to simply the one room, which is Morton's office.
Damn.
So it seems like you're going to have to distract Dog Morton to be able to slip up to Morton's office.
Okay. I think Eli walks up to her and says, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. I'm a friend of Tanazart. I'm not sure if you've met. I'm Eli. What's your name?"
She introduces herself. I'm Sally, Dog Morton. Yes. I've met her very briefly. I sent her up to Jenny's office. Can I help you with anything?
Yes, actually. Jenny is just outside right now, and I think she called for you. She sent me in here to get you.
Oh, okay. Do you mind just watching my station for a second?
Of course, no problem.
Brilliant, thank you. And she heads over to the door and pulls it open and shouts out to Jenny, and a brief exchange begins. Do you wish to try and use this opportunity to do something? She's not fully left the room.
I don't know if this is enough for Eli to quickly sprint up the stairs or whether that's way too obvious.
Move on that shit.
Can I? I mean, I've got a lot of dexterity, fitness. If I try and just wing it and
This'll be some
fly up the
skullduggery.
stairs.
Skullduggery.
I've got skullduggery. Don't worry.
That's skullduggery out my
Famous
ass,
last
mate.
words.
So it all goes wrong.
Have you got anything that might aid this test?
Oh.
Any knowledges that might help you?
Hunting. That's got some stealth.
People always try to put hunting in it, man.
It's a very
got
nebulous
track of war
knowledge.
here.
It can mean lots of things.
Can it?
Maybe.
You could argue
see
using
why I
hunting
can't.
if the person you're trying to track down is a fucking cow.
Doesn't work quite so well.
If you can argue to this to me, well, even who's hunting a cow?
I can argue. Hunting, you need a lot of stealth
Perhaps a
and
wolf.
precision, and
That was
Yeah,
only a
in the
joke.
wild.
Carry
you
on.
need
Not
an
in a
eye for the details, like last minute
The spots.
decisions, really quick reflexes. I think it works.
Yeah, I see it petitioned too often.
I'm
I
so
must
sorry.
I must be careful when I permit hunting.
Don't
My heart
decide.
hath grown hard.
I've been hurt too many times.
Just watch Alex insert a rise in hysteria every time someone uses hunting.
There'll be another
It's
change
it's
in the
just
rules.
it's just to represent my own hysteria increase.
The goddess Artemis grows displeased.
So I think just a straight intelligence and skullduggery test then, please.
Okay.
How many dice
That's
is that?
3.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Oof. Could go either way, I think.
Hey,
oi.
2 successes.
Ooh.
So pretty much as soon as Sally opens the door and you sense that her attention is solidly out of this room and into the outside, you silently sprint up the stairs and creak the door open.
Little rabbit heart bursting.
You're in Morton's office. It's relatively clear. There are a few chairs, one behind the desk and a few in front. There's a rack with a few weapons, just a bow and a empty space for a baton.
Ooh, nice.
And then a sword that is left there. So she's relatively well equipped. The desk is relatively well ordered. There are a few papers still there, and then a few desks underneath. Do you want to start rooting through? Is there anything you're looking for in particular?
I guess in the drawers, if there's going to be anything.
You'd be wanting to look for something about... sorry, give me a second.
Oh, Oscar.
The Oscar Blinkley, or the Society of Merchant Venturers.
Yes. Can I
would like
rummage
to
through the drawers?
see an insight test, then, please.
Okay.
And if you have any knowledges like civil law, heraldry, potentially
Nope.
cryptology.
Classics?
No.
That's all.
God
I'm
damn
looking for Greco-Roman literature in these tables.
Okay.
No, okay. If you haven't got one of those three, then I think it's straight those dice. Then please.
I don't have insight. Just
Two
too
dice,
intelligent. Okay.
Eli's not unclever.
No.
not.
If it's science and medicine, he's all right.
Oh, that's a
That's
success.
a success. Three successes on 3 rolls. It's very good. We're off to a success here.
This is going far too well. I don't trust it.
It's gonna all go to shit as soon as we get back to the hatchet.
Yep.
Very quickly slide through the drawers and uncover, through some swift skim reading, the name Oscar Blinkley.
Yes.
And do you just sort of like pocket the document, or do you try and sort of like commit it to memory very quickly?
Oh gosh.
Either way, this will be included within the success you've already got, so it's up to you.
I think pocket it. I don't think Eli can do as much with the memorization and the information he sees as much as like giving it to
But wouldn't that make
Jude
us
or
suspicious?
maybe.
Only if they uncover it,
Yeah,
and
how
they
are they
didn't
gonna
see.
know?
Didn't see
How are they
anything.
gonna know?
Late. Eli pockets it. It's first instinct. You're acting very
Yep,
quickly.
yeah.
You're currently under a skullduggerous activity.
True.
Is there anything else you want to try and do, or you might start to be pushing your luck with time?
I think pushing a luck with time since what was her name? Sally was only just out of the door.
So Eli dashes back downstairs before Sally turns around. For the other perspective on this conversation, Tanazart sees Sally Dog Morton come to the door, open it, see that Morton is currently in a conversation with Tanazart, and then sort of like awkwardly wait. Just as one would on the side of a conversation that they don't want to interrupt because it's with their superior, and just sort of, I don't, mate, Jenny, could you just, sorry, it doesn't matter, I'll just stand here. So Tanazart, what are you trying to negotiate? Are you after the help from these constables, or are you after something completely different?
So first, over Sally, the receptionist's head, I just see Eli silently sprint up the stairs.
You see Eli in a window on the,
Eli,
on
wait.
the building.
I think it would be pertinent to secure the help of not just the constabulary, but of other official bodies that may have weapons in this city, that aren't just these constables and this receptionist.
Okay, so you want to try and leverage the constabulary's position to get more official help.
Yes.
I want to see Sally get bodied. Together with her desk.
I think this sounds like networks. And if you have What are your knowledges here?
I have romance, classics, literature and poetry, astronomy, demonology, band studies, decorative arts, and engineering. I imagine none of those help.
No, I was after something like military tactics, or heraldry and genealogy, something along those lines.
It's cool.
But, yeah. You've got the dice.
I've got the dice.
Is that 2 or
I've
3?
got 2.
2.
Further negotiation. Let's roll the dice.
I'm feeling good.
Oh my god!
That's another success!
This means we're going to do horribly in the second half of this here.
Oh, there's not going to be another success.
We've used them all up.
Yeah. So Jenny, how do you broach this? How do you broach this?
Constable, what are the men of the constabulary like?
I make do with what I'm given. She's visibly spotted Sally at this point, but Sally is too awkward to interrupt. And Jenny, considering the line of questioning, has no desire to help her out here.
Poor Sally.
Yeah, poor Sally.
This was my suspicion. Now, it is not that I have no faith in you. I have much faith in you, Miss Morton. But I wonder if matters were to get out of hand, might we not need further aid?
She nods, slowly at first, but then increases a little with it, and says, "Now, I would have you know that my constables are very good at keeping the peace, becoming friends and a part of the community, but in what you are referring to, I wouldn't want to see them come to harm. We work with a lady, Rebecca Chastley. She assists with our matters of prosecution, but she has a great deal of wealth and power behind her. I'll put you in contact. I'll set you up with a meeting, as it were, and she will be able to offer you this.
You have my thanks, Miss Morton.
If you come by the constabulary tomorrow, lunchtime, she'll be here. She needs to talk to this gentleman in the cells that you wish to also have a discussion with."
And on that point, might I see the unfortunate?
Absolutely. "Sally, what is it?" And Sally says, "The gentleman inside," and then gestures back at Eli. You're standing there. There's a bead of sweat. "The gentleman inside said you need me for something." "I don't, Sally. Go back to your station." "Oh, and open up the cells." Sally proceeds to head on inside. Tanazart, I assume you follow. And she opens up the hallway to the cells and points out the cell with the gentleman you saw earlier. It says, all yours. If you need me, just shout. Do you want me to open up his cell in particular, or do you want to talk through the bars?"
Do you think he is dangerous?
And the guy in the cell says, "I'm a little dangerous, yes."
This man is not dangerous. Open this cell.
he laughs and says, "Well, I'm glad to have the door open at least."
Eli!
Sally opens the door.
Come
and then
here.
Shuffles out.
Eli comes over to Tanazart.
Eli outranks Tanazart by quite some level.
I think Eli sees Tanazart as someone truly superior, kind of intellectually, so doesn't quite.
Tanazart is
When
much
somebody older,
Yeah.
yeah, when somebody older gets a job below you and you just feel desperately uncomfortable. So the gentleman that you're speaking with, he stands up from leaning against the wall, sat on the floor, and says, "More people want my time. Well, I've got time aplenty. What is it I can do for you?"
First, your name, sir.
Swithin. Yours?
Tanazart Walet Baraxen. At your service.
And yours? Pointed to Eli.
I'm Eli Sawthorn.
You see small cogs twisting in his head as he commits them to memory.
Now, why are you in a cell, Swithin?
Poor choices. Why are you in my cell?
Poorer choices. But
Could you ask? He said more people want my time. What other people want his time?
who else needs your time, Swithin?
Well, I'm booked up for the rest of the week. This constabulary, they have people coming in and out, trying to get me to talk to them about various matters that I'm alleged to have been involved with.
What matters are those?
I don't tell just about everybody about my day-to-day activities, you understand. It's not in my best interest.
Perhaps we might help each other.
You're going to get me out of this room?
If you tell me why you are in the room.
And how do I have any assurance that as soon as I tell you, you don't slam those gates behind you? And then simply I have to kill you a week or two from now.
Firstly, sir, you would surely die. And secondly...
I would take the bet just for the chance.
I like you. You are sporty. First, look at this sweet-faced child. See him.
Eli's trying not to laugh, but is really nervous because someone just mentioned that they might come after him and kill him.
Swithin says, I think you're underestimating that sweet-faced child. I think he's... You can see the arms, there's power in there, and he's clearly smart enough to be nervous.
Eli looks at Tanazart and goes, maybe.
What assurance might I give you?
I think you should make a persuasion test. Getting a lot of sway out this morning.
I shall do that.
Morning? It's evening in real life and in the game. What morning am I fucking talking about?
Well, I have persuasion, and I have 2 sway. I don't think I have any knowledge that will act with this man, so I'll just throw it out. Woo!
And another success!
Woo!
Holla.
Hey,
Oh, I'm really worried for
Three
later on
dice,
in this
we got
session.
one in there.
we're really on
Oh,
a
yeah,
roll.
Absolutely. Swithin goes and looks through a window, very small in the top of his cell, and leans his shoulder ever so slightly back and says, I have an association with a merchant. We had an arrangement which unfortunately led to my situation here. I think that I've been replaced.
What arrangement might that be?
I was helping persuade a few individuals in the merchant venturers to look the other way on a certain number of matters.
Ah. Intimidation.
Amongst other things.
Ah. Some blackmail and extortion, too.
Yes.
You see, Eli, a man like us.
He smiles, turns around, and says, "It's good to hear that I'm amongst colleagues."
Now, what do you believe would spring you from this trap?
This meeting I have tomorrow. I think it's possible that it secures my freedom, but it will rely on me perjuring myself in my professional capacity. Now, I'd much rather not do that. So I'd rather feed a few half-truths that prove to be half correct. Now, I might need your help in proving them half correct, as I am confined to these walls.
Give me names, places, and you will have your half-truths.
I was assigned to Robert Oldworth. Have you heard of him?
I am new here.
He's very, very wealthy. Scandalously wealthy, almost. And he was being persuaded to part with some of that fine currency. Now, if you could find in his possession a few documents with the merchant venturer's seals on them, I would be able to prove his connection to my employers. And I think that would not only make me look like I was doing a dashing job to my employers, but also secure me enough of a assistance with the constabulary to pop me out of this place.
Why, it is child's play. To steal from a rich man. Why, I would do this for free.
Perfect. Oldworth has an estate just outside of Bristol.
You have been most helpful, Mr. Swithin. And perhaps on the morrow, you may be a free man.
I hope to see it.
There's no way we're going to actually secure this guy's release, right? He's very suspicious.
He's wildly suspicious, but Tanazart loves the danger.
I rate that. Obviously, I rate that. But I don't think we should let him go.
I want to do that job. Can I do that job?
You can absolutely do that job.
I think it's not a problem. We could definitely get inside this house and get some.
Oh my god!
But
Reformed
what do we
rogue.
do with it?
Action.
But just because we can doesn't mean we
Should
should,
we?
because that guy definitely works for Oscar Blinkley.
He definitely does.
Oscar Blinkley will have replaced him with Constantine Paxton, I think. The guy who was
So
inside
why not
the
get
caramel
him,
factory.
Why not get him on our side and pay him more?
Ah, so you wanted to... Yeah, okay, that's good. Get him as an agent. Because then one of you guys can have an agent.
But it would make a lot of sense to recruit him as an agent for one of you two.
If we can manage to get
He's a
him
criminal
to
already. It's perfect.
Mo,
Exactly.
do it.
halfway there.
Mo, recruit.
I will get him.
Whenever Mo...
I think it's worth saying, mechanically, if you were to spring him from the constabulary, he would be quite indebted to the point of becoming an agent.
Okay.
It's worth saying in that capacity, and he will certainly already have an extra specialism because he's established as a as a criminal. In the meantime, while this discussion is happening at the constabulary, we shall return to the hatchet. How's the trip with Rumpert and Jude gone?
Well, you see, Rumpert has been thinking about getting a little dog, or perhaps a slightly larger one. So he's been like smelling and such. And basically, he's just looking for a pet. So I don't know if I have to roll something to like some sort of how you say perception. Then to look for a little dog on the way. Then he would have done that.
So you have already. Would you like to have earlier communed with the rat?
No, that wasn't a communion. That was just a conversation.
Okay.
Understandable.
No, I simply had a conversation with that rat. It's very different.
Yeah, he already speaks rat, like going into the scenario, so he can just talk to them.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so let's make a. I feel like I just want to do an animal handling because you can find an animal.
Yeah,
it's whether you find an animal that also finds you.
Okay, animal handling.
Agreeable.
Well, I've got the old 3 with being skilled in it, and I also have a knowledge of veterinary science and hunting. If that gives me anything extra. Oh no! I get
have hunting.
And do I get an extra one for my talent with my primal perceptor talent, which is the enhanced senses?
If you've already got one for skill and you've already got one for situation, aka your knowledge, then that's the 2 that you can get.
So that's roll 5d6.
He doesn't even need the hunting.
Oh, I got one success.
Oh, we are playing close today.
It's starting to wind down. Those successes are starting to vanish. So, what sort of animal do you want to find?
Ideally, some sort of very large dog. Like we're talking sort of Irish wolfhound style, or alternatively, something more along the bear baity side of being a dog. So something large enough to give a bear some issue, but not a whole lot of trouble. If
Since
that
he's
narrows
gotten,
down the size of dog.
Since he's gotten only one success, give him one of those raggedy-looking ass dogs with like curly hair and like just that always look dirty to fit with his aesthetic.
Why are you doing this to me, your friend?
Because Rumpert would love any animal companion.
He would, to be fair to him. So yeah, give me whatever. But a dog, preferably a large one.
I am just consulting my delightful new and correct map of Bristol.
For large dogs.
I think, yeah, just to see if there are any that are so large they show up on the map. I think you're probably going to have to take a bit of a detour. And so we can add this into your incredible perceptive ability of you smell a dog. You smell the perfect dog. Because you're currently in Queen Square, just between where the Basson splits.
Mm-hmm.
Basin, I don't fucking know. Bristol River. And you would be heading north up to the Hatchet, just a few roads away.
Mm.
However, you smell going south. You smell the perfect dog.
Okay.
It's sweaty and dirty, and you smell glee on it, like it's a happy dog.
Oh, good.
And so you start heading. Does Jude accompany this, or does Jude head straight to the Hatchet?
No, of course he accompanies. Every interaction with Rumpert is a teaching moment for Martha.
You find a number of dry docks just on the south of the river.
Okay.
You have to cross over a bridge to get there, and another lock bridge to follow further. And you start following along the new river. Oh, it's called the New River? Wild. It might be too new. It might not exist right now.
Is it new and correct?
Everything's new and correct in 1800. Yeah, most of these things probably wouldn't have existed in 1600, but I don't care. It's good enough for me. And you find yourself heading down an alleyway between two warehouses and finding just this stray, scraggly, slightly wet and damp smelling dog.
Yeah, nice.
That's just chewing apart a bird that it's found. And it looks up at you, a little bit bloody in the mouth, but still with gleefully bright eyes. And then it immediately bounds over to you and just starts sniffing you.
So what Rumpert does is he sort of goes down to his knees and lets the dog kind of pop his forepaws up on his shoulders, and he's like, "Du bist mein besonderer Jung, du bist mein and just kind of like talking to him in German and Germanic languages in general. And then as he's doing that, he kind of like just takes one of its whiskers, just very gently from its face, and then just kind of eats it. Just puts the whisker in his mouth and just kind of twirls it around his tongue 5 times, and then like the other way. And then after that, he kind of kisses the dog on the nose, and the whisker comes out of his mouth and kind of sits up on his nose for a second, like really stocked and stiff, and then falls to the floor. And after that, there's a big light in the dog's eyes, and suddenly his eyes are the same colour as Rumpert's, sort of like a dark, muddy green. And
the only thing I'll add is when you go down to kiss him on the nose, he has a nibble of your hair.
Yeah, and he doesn't mind
Eats
at all.
a couple bugs.
And then he stands up and says to Jude, "Okay, now we can leave and go to the X."
What are you going to call this little doggy?
Oh,
What do you learn that this dog's name is?
Oh, the dog's name is unpronounceable, obviously, because it's a dog.
Yeah, completely different.
So what he calls him is Dog.
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 Excellent.
This is Dog.
Perfect.
No, you don't. No, you don't at all. So he takes his Besonderer Jung, and then they head off to the hatchet with the dog quite happily wagging his tail next to him.
Brilliant.
How large would you say Dog is?
I don't know much about dogs at all, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call Dog as having the hunter profile.
Okay.
For your benefit.
Thank you.
They're not brutish, but they're not quite ratty.
Yeah.
They're
good for finding things, not for fighting things.
Okay. Holding their own. But yes, fabulous. If you give me like some sort of picture of Dog, based off that description, you are more than welcome. And I will link it in all show notes.
Okay.
But otherwise, dogs are not my speciality.
No, that's fair. We walk back up to the hatchet. What time would you say it is now? How long is it taking us?
Yeah, I think that little detour. You're probably reaching 8 o'clock now.
Okay,
things are starting to wind down for the evening. It's starting to. The sun's dipping along the horizon. A solid 4 hours later than it is currently. Love summer.
What I enjoy here is that
nice
Jude silently observed all of that and didn't say a damn thing.
This is incorrect. He was constantly telling Martha, of which I have never provided a description, based off of what Theon said a long time ago when Martha was born. I've pictured her in my head as a very dirty version of Alice, Madness Returns. So throughout this, I did not want to breach this very heartfelt interaction with Jude's comments, but imagine things along the line. You see, girl, this is primitive behavior. Bonding with woods, very unhygienic, and so on.
And Rumpert quite happily chooses to ignore the things that everyone says around him. Because, again, he hears everything that people say around him. He's well aware of how he looks.
You have thrown me back by reminding me of Alice Madness Returns.
A great game, I would say.
I always wanted it. And now I'm just looking at Google images of it. Anyway, done with that. You arrive at the hatchet. Dog in tow. And Martha, as always, in tow. Martha must not sleep if she does the plots in the evening and follows you around all day.
I imagine that she sleeps in the first part of the day and she just knows where to find Jude. In my imagination, Jude and his agents have some psychic connection, which is how I explain how Jude knows what they've seen overnight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when the mechanics don't accommodate, I'm fine with psychicry. So yeah, you find yourselves at the hatchet. The hatchet is now relatively busy. As I said, all of its floors are relatively squat. So as soon as several people get in there, even if most of the tables aren't taken up, the sound takes up most of the room itself, and there is a feeling of busyness already. It's warm. There's a fire going. And it's a cozy looking building. How would you like to go about trying to find these Scotsmen, these clansmen?
I mean, is there anything that we can recognize from the description of the person who was on fire? Do we see people with visible tattoos? Red-haired people? Pale people? I mean, this is
also, does Rumpert hear any use of Scots Gaelic, which he also speaks?
Ah, perfect. One of you please make a perception test, and if it is not Rumpert, then, or regardless, add that knowledge of Scots Gaelic.
Okay.
Or Celtic in general.
I think I might make that test, you know.
No, it's going to be me. You can lend me your awareness of Gaelic because I have 3 intelligence and I have perception.
All right, there you go.
That's better.
That's
all of the dice. That's
There
all
you
of the
go.
dice.
Better than you than my one intelligence.
So close.
Two
sixes.
Bloody hell.
But there is a 4 in there. So it's all good. You hear... Rumpert just starts pointing out so many uses of different languages. It's busyness, and I imagine that Rumpert is pointing this out by saying it whispered into Jude's ear.
Let us not forget
He's crouched down, hulking over
that
the delicate Jude.
Also has synesthesia, so he can also see and smell and taste the languages. For all our listeners, we are very aware of sensory overload, and we do not recommend getting synesthesia even for one day.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking.
So, yeah, Rumpert just starts repeating like a conduit all the languages and instances of anything that he hears. And you spot, with, partly in aid of Rumpert's
chattering,
incessant babbling, a group in the corner nursing some ales of 3 relatively well-armed individuals speaking Scots Gaelic, wearing quite heavy furs, dressed a little bit down for the summer, and a few weapons propped variously amongst the tables and chairs that they have. But they are relatively poorly hidden, easily reached.
Before we approach, I would like to whisper to my collaborator, would you be so kind as to find out how many of them there are and which rooms belong to them? I have an inkling to have a search.
Are you talking to me? Oh, right, so I shall go over there and I shall talk to them and we shall find out the information. And Rumpert strolls over towards the gentleman.
Jude accompanies and will find an excuse at some point later to sneak away if they do disclose where their rooms are.
And Rumpert kind of marches across and then quickly realizes he has not a drink and so marches back to the bar, picks up a flagon and then marches straight back in sort of like a large loop. And he says, "Greetings. How are you today?"
Are you saying that in Scots Gaelic or in English?
Scots Gaelic?
A woman turns her head. Across from her are two others, a man and a woman, and she looks up at you and says, "Do I know you?"
Not yet, love. Would you like to?
I wasn't going to put a test this early on, but I think you've just made it. Don't think of this as a positive test. Think of this as a test to see how repulsive these characters immediately are.
I have no sway. This is going to be jokes.
It's going to have to be etiquette.
Etiquette, yeah, solid. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, I got no sway, skilled in nothing. I do...
You can have a dice for the Scots Gaelic.
Thank you. So, that's 2 die. Let's see how this holds up.
I feel like we may lose our streak.
I'll
be disappointed if not. Oh no! Success!
How?
The Lord will provide for his chosen few!
Theon there espousing Calvinism.
In this moment, actually appropriate. With all the Scottishness going around.
That should not have succeeded.
And yet it did!
Completely unwarranted. Actively disencouraged. She scowls briefly, and then the expression softens slightly, and says, "You're welcome to sit. We can get on that process of getting to know one another."
Hey, that sounds alright, love. And he plants himself down into an available seat, rattling his axe on his back. And he
You're an absolute monster of a man.
Aye, that's what they say. And this here is me dog. Say hello,
I hope
dog.
he's not pointing at Jude.
No, he's pointing at
there?
Dog the dog.
Has Jude come along?
Yes, he is there.
Then the one says, "And he's your friend, not the dog."
Hey, Jude, you come to introduce yourself.
Bonsoir. Dr.
He's French.
Truth be told, the dog is more his friend than I am, but we make do.
That is true. I met him earlier.
She says in Scots, "Do we need to switch to the bastard tongue?"
Hey, if you want, but I'm nae bothered.
This is true.
And he says, but the thing is, he says that in English.
One of the people on the other side of the table give Dog a bit of a ruffle, and
Dog responds by giving him a small licky lick.
Lovely. The gentleman seems quite enamoured with Dog.
Who would not be?
So the woman that you've been talking to, she says, "What brings you to our table?"
Hey, well, it's always good to hear the voices of kinsmen, Well, if not kinsmen, then certainly Scots down here in the belly of the bastard. And I suppose I was just curious.
Not a trip I make lightly, generally.
Aye, so what does bring you down here?
We're
do they have names?
They do.
Rumpert hasn't asked.
Yeah.
Rumpert's not one to ask.
Speaking to a group of unnamed individuals.
Jude could ask them.
They don't know Rumperts either, I don't think.
They don't.
Or did you introduce yourself?
No, I didn't.
You introduced Dog and Jude.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah.
But not yourself.
Pass that etiquette test. Didn't matter.
We'll ask later. Why are they here?
She's a little evasive about it. She says, Well. Work trip.
Hey, away jobby, eh? Hey, I'm down here for some employment myself. What's your name, love?
Cara.
Cara. That's a beautiful name.
The
Hey,
other two introduce themselves as Munro and Winfreda.
Munro and Winfreda. That's not a Lewis name, is it?
Yes.
I see. I have the brain for names.
Oh, we're of Clan MacLeod.
Clan MacLeod. Now there's a proud name if ever I heard one. Hey, do you know anything about Clan MacLeod?
Does Jude speak Scots Gaelic?
He said that in English.
So Jude is ostracised thoroughly from much of the conversation.
This is correct.
But when Rumpert switches back to English, does Jude know anything about Clan MacLeod?
I mean, not really. Not because. Oh no, he does not have any knowledges that would.
So that's a right
Do-
shame. Would
Do
you
you
mind
want
sharing?
to recollect some details?
That we know so far.
If you've got any knowledges between the two of you that you think might help?
So he's still got his knowledge of Celtic.
Absolutely. That's absolutely going to be helpful.
And also, I've got Druidic and Fae studies.
Yeah, pop that in.
Cool.
Jude, weren't you in the room with Piotyr and Tanazart when they were recalling?
Yeah, but the information that we got in that instance was mostly about. God, where is that document?
You know their motto.
Pardon?
You know their motto.
This is true. But not much else, do we?
No, not much. But what I'm trying to do is to trick them into talking more about Clan MacLeod by offering them surface information as if we know a lot more to make them more comfortable with engaging with us. So I'm going to roll 3d6.
What was the third one from?
Third one's just my actual intelligence.
Oh, no, we don't...
Is that not?
With...
Oh, we just roll
with a
knowledge.
recollection, it's quite simply just your knowledges that you can throw.
Okay, in which case...
What does Jude have in terms of knowledges? That
Oh
would be one
god,
that I
no,
can,
absolutely
recommend.
not. The only ones that are not medical are Romance languages and church law.
But we have the piece. Does the piece of information about the motto count as a die?
Ah, yes, you've already encountered the motto. Yeah.
So that's 3d6.
Very good. Yeah, go on then.
Thanks.
Except... Oh!
5 and a 4!
Perfect.
Oh!
So the first, I'll offer you a few minor details first. You are talking with Clan MacLeod, or people with allegiance to Clan MacLeod of Lewis. Clan MacLeod of Lewis is an off branch of Clan MacLeod itself.
The word in Scots is a sept. S-E...
Thank you for that, Siobhan.
Lovely.
S-E-P-T. That's from Clan Barry of Clan Farquharson. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, so they're a sept of Clan MacLeod. They have had a rough century.
Oh, good.
Let us say that's what I'll give. Is there any what questions do you want to prod with those two successes?
So what I'd like to prod then is just as to what would bring someone like, as in like, I think, or could I hint at the fact that we've heard that a Scotsman may have died in the city recently?
Yeah. Maybe say something like they might not feel welcome because of that.
These questions are quite merely to your own intelligence. What questions do you want to answer of information that you might gather?
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Okay, so should we have what's been the biggest misfortune to occur for Clan MacLeod recently, and then what is the current status of Lewis? So, like, what would drive people down? away from it.
So, the big misfortune is going to answer that second question of they lost Lewis.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
So they're displaced. Okay, displaced clan.
Yeah, so Clan MacLeod of Lewis has currently not got Lewis. Lewis is currently owned by the Mackenzies. And a part of that biggest tragedy is the loss of the head of the MacLeods.
Okay. What was the leader of the MacLeod's name?
Torquil Doob.
No way his name is Torquil Doob.
I've got to put this in the Discord because I have no idea how to pronounce this.
I hope it's Torquil Doob.
It looks like Torquil Doob.
Oh no, that's Doof.
Oh!
Doof.
Torquil Doof.
I think it's Doof. It's either Doof or Deeve.
Whichever way.
Whichever
we are
way.
Unaware, but we shall lie between Doov and Deeve. Torquil.
Okay, in which case, Rumpert takes off, goes to take off his hat and realises he's not wearing one, so just kind of like waves his hand around his hair and then puts it back down in his lap and says, rest in peace to the great man, Torquil. Sláinte, and he raises his tankard and drinks to the memory of Torquil Deeve.
They raise their tankards as well, and Carter says, "Hey, you're clued up."
Well, it's good to keep abreast of all the difficulties back home, especially when I find myself far and away more than I'd care to be.
Hey. Is there anything you want to ask with that second question?
So the second question is, what should I ask? What should I ask?
Feel free
to chip in,
to confer and assist.
Felix, what question? What's another question I should ask?
Oh, actually, hold on. Is there anyone in particular in this area that they have animosity towards?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Anyone that would make them feel particularly unwelcome?
A Mackenzie, perhaps.
They've got an issue with the Mackenzies at the moment. They're not fans of the crown at the moment. Just because part of the reason they lost Lewis was jurisdictional and legal. So it's partly a betrayal. However, they don't have any particular difficulties or hatred towards any organisations down in Bristol that you know of. So it'll likely be that the obvious link to why they're here is the obvious link to why they're here. So yeah, you want to then follow up in this conversation and sort of like probe them about the dead man.
Yes, please. So he says, I hope you won't mind me being too forward, but I happen to keep my ear to the ground, as it were, and I heard that God rest his soul, a Lewis man was found dead in the city of Bristol not too recently, or rather quite recently.
And Felix, does Jude want to make that insight test? And there's another success!
Ah!
It's part 2 where it's all going to come crashing down.
This is nutty.
Shut up.
So, Jude, you notice the
With psychology.
mood. Yes. You notice the mood turn frosty immediately, and you spot the two on the far side of the table. They are reaching inside coats if things go wrong. And Kada turns most of her body to Rumpert and says, "Don't know the man. Don't want to know the man."
I get you.
Are there any burial rites amidst Scots people that I, as a foreigner, am unfamiliar with? That they perhaps would have been that this man would have been robbed of, given the disappearance of his corpse, that we might make an appeal to dissuade tension?
I think they just don't like the guy. They don't like the dead man, which is suspicious. It is suspicious. It's like, oh, well then, we shan't talk of the dead. How about I orders us another round?
Yeah, I think it would still be burial cloth, not burned, placed in tombs or resting places.
Right.
So I think it would still be entombing rather than burial. I might be wrong on that. I'm no expert on Scottish burial practice, as I am not an expert on many things. But this is my inference. Carter says, "What exactly do you think you're gonna get by coming over here and asking some questions of that nature from us?"
Can I?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, never mind.
Suppose just a bit of conversation.
I think we've had enough of our conversation.
Can I make some sort of roll?
To do what?
To...
Have not had enough of the conversation?
Yes. I think that's another sway roll that I'm looking.
So what do you say? I want to know what you say, and then I'll decide if it warrants some kind of a roll.
I could also roll compassion to talk about the fact that we just wanted to express solidarity.
Yeah, that sounds better. That
with
sounds
the loss
better.
of a fellow man. But then again, they don't like him.
So yeah, you start offering sympathies for the death of the person, I imagine. And Kada turns and says, "You no need for sympathies. No interest in sympathies. I do not know the man. I have no interest in knowing the man. So now I think we're done."
Alright, you have a good evening then. I'll,
Yeah, have a good evening as you.
Is there any chance that by going to speak to Marjorie and complaining about how rude these Scots people are, and whether they'd might be rowdy in the night, that I could find out where their rooms are? And just snoop around, as I do.
You can definitely try and do that.
Yay.
So we'll have this as the last test before we take a break. Let's go with... It's a bit skullduggerous, isn't it?
It is skullduggerous.
Yeah.
Am I making any kind of... I'm not making any kind of appeal to her, apart from, like, straight up skullduggery, right?
This is just like a flat out lie, isn't it? This is your classic lie.
It's a gentle manipulation of
Of the truth.
legal, sort of like bureaucratic proceedings
Yeah.
of ledger taking and...
Jude doesn't ever really complain
but,
about anything, so this would definitely be a lie. Oh, these Scots people, they are so loud.
Okay, so you head over to Marjorie and you say quite flat out and openly, I want to know where the Scots people are so I can search their room.
Oh,
In
no.
Devil's bargain!
Oh, here it is.
Ooh. No, devil's bargain. Sorry, everyone.
The roll and the test quite made redundant in the face of... You took a devil's bargain earlier and you've just blurted out some...
Oh my god! That's the bargain! You can't lie!
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you to lie this whole match.
Oh god!
I've had a little post-it note on my table that says, Jude must speak truths.
I understand.
And I was so glad that it's you. So you just go straight up to Marjorie and say, I want to know where the Scotsman's room is so that I can search. And she stops serving someone and just sort of looks at you quite blankly and says, "I beg your pardon."
Rumpert kind of leans over the bar and goes, Well, I am actually Scottish, and I believe the young man wants to uncover my bedclothes.
Now, I thought you were talking about you I have some Scots people staying, and they're over there in the corner. You were just talking to them, weren't you?
Who, them? No,
Yes.
no, not talking to them.
I don't know. You were you got a drink and you had straight over to them. You want to say it to their rooms? That's quite improper.
Well, perhaps, but as you say, maybe we can come to an arrangement of sorts.
She turns to Jude and says, "So, what do you have to say to yourself?"
Don't let Jude say anything.
Just tell the truth.
Hold on.
Just tell the truth,
No.
You can't help. You cannot lie. You cannot lie.
Oh. What can I say? I do not do well with drink. There we go. And these Scots people are so rude.
I'm going to need. This feels. Yeah, I'm gonna go with courage.
I have courage.
I want. No. This is a Jude problem. Jude is overcoming the powers of
The devil.
the devil and the bargain running rampant.
Oh, I know for a fact that Jude has no virtues.
Lies. I have two in virtue.
Oh, God!
Two in virtue.
I mean, I say that and this
Roll
is going to
those
fail.
dice.
I'm just gonna
Do you have
retype this a few times as if I'm rolling actual dice. Oh, God. Yes!
That's a success, and that is where we're.
I would like us to revisit that suck it I said earlier. Please note that down.
I'll edit it so that it.
Can we have that as a sting? Felix saying, "Suck it."
How you say it? Suck it.
So yeah, Jude says, "I do not do well with alcohol," and then Marjorie's like, "Very well, very well. I suppose I'll have to cut you off now." But no more
At
of
which
this.
point, Rumpert slings Jude over his shoulder and says, "Don't worry, lass. We'll get him home to bed."
Is it officially nighttime?
Yeah.
It's also officially break time.
No,
So
nighttime,
We'll
not
come.
break time.
Yeah, but it's both.
It's both. We'll come back to nighttime after a little break. So that was good fun.
Very successful.
Very successful, but still chaotic.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
You made deals with a criminal and you insulted a bunch of Scots people.
And I got a dog.
You got a dog!
A dog.
You adopted a stray.
I always wanted a dog, guys. This is really exciting.
Oh, we've got so much to do in the nighttime. We have places to steal into, we have things to rob.
I need to see a gnome about a gem.
I need to
Very
recruit
exciting.
a new agent.
So we will be. Again, we'll personally be back in an hour, but you'll hear from us in a week. So a thank you to Tasha Soffler, who provided us with the music for this podcast, and a thank you to Oscar Russell of Watchtower Design, who provided us with the excellent designs. You can find us on all of the social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Not TikTok.
Damn it. No,
I don't know how we'd incorporate it.
I
mean, a lot of work.
I refuse.
At Daemonologie RPG. That's Daemonologie with a D-A-E and then an I-E instead of a Y. Daemonologie RPG. Also send us emails. Daemonologierpg@gmail.com. Absolutely do that. We'd love to hear them. Why not?
Sure.
Lovely time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you all soon.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Goodbye, everyone.
3, 2, 1. Incredibly out of sync. We're going to do that again.
I thought that one was better.
No, it was terrible.
So incredibly out of sync. Right, 3, 2, 1.